If your garden soil feels lifeless no matter how much compost you throw at it, you're not alone. Many gardeners battle tired, compacted ground that refuses to spring back to life. But what if the secret to reviving it was already sitting in your kitchen, quietly growing stale? Hidden in that forgotten loaf of bread lies one of nature's most powerful tools for rebuilding soil biology: rotting bread water. This ancient, almost forgotten trick doesn't just feed plants. It awakens the invisible life beneath them, summoning earthworms and supercharging microbial activity faster than most store-bought fertilizers ever could. This isn't some garden myth. Rotting bread water is a real science-backed process that transforms old bread into a bubbling brew of life. When done right, it becomes a liquid culture teeming with beneficial microbes, the same kind that drive natural fertility in untouched forests and meadows. And the best part? It costs almost nothing to make. When bread ferments in water, it sets off a biological chain reaction. Natural yeasts and bacteria, already present in the bread and air, multiply rapidly in the moisture-rich environment. They break down sugars and starches into organic acids and enzymes, compounds that soil microbes absolutely love. Within a day or two, what started as a soggy loaf turns into a yeast-rich, nutrient-dense liquid that acts as an instant microbial feast. This process mirrors what happens naturally in healthy soil: constant decay and renewal driven by microbes, fungi, and worms. The fermentation creates aromas and compounds that attract earthworms from deep within the soil. These worms aerate the ground, recycle nutrients, and enrich it with their castings, tiny nuggets of pure plant food. Over time, this simple brew triggers a cycle of self-sustaining fertility. What you're really making here isn't a fertilizer in the traditional sense. It's actually a living soil conditioner. It doesn't just feed plants, it reawakens the entire underground ecosystem that keeps your soil alive. During fermentation, yeast releases enzymes and organic acids that start breaking down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. These sugars become instant food for soil bacteria and fungi. When you pour this fermented mixture onto your garden, those microbes multiply fast, increasing soil respiration and oxygen levels. Earthworms are naturally drawn to these oxygen-rich zones, where they feast on the microbes and decaying organic matter. As they burrow, they create air pockets that improve soil structure and water retention. Their castings, in turn, are packed with bioavailable nutrients, like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, all perfectly balanced and slow-released. This natural symphony transforms dull, compacted, or clay-heavy soil into soft, crumbly, nutrient-rich earth in just a few weeks. It's like flipping a biological switch that restarts your soil's natural engine. Getting the formula right is key. Too weak and the brew won't do much. Too strong and you risk overwhelming your soil biology. Here's the exact tested recipe that works every time. Start with 500 grams of stale bread. White, brown, or mixed, as long as it's free from black or fuzzy mold. Tear it into small chunks and place them in a clean bucket that holds at least 4 liters of liquid. Then pour in 2 liters of lukewarm water, ideally around 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. Stir until all the bread is fully soaked. To give the fermentation a quick start, add 1 tablespoon of molasses or 1 teaspoon of plain sugar. This extra carbohydrate feeds the natural yeasts and bacteria, helping your mixture bubble faster. Cover the bucket loosely with a lid or cloth to allow gases to escape. Let it ferment at room temperature for 24 to 48 hours. During this time, you'll notice bubbles forming and a mild, yeasty aroma. That's the sweet smell of healthy microbial activity. If it ever smells like spoiled milk or rotten eggs, discard it and start fresh. Once fermentation is complete, strain the liquid through a fine sieve or cloth. The strained liquid is your breadwater concentrate, and the remaining bread pulp can go straight into your compost pile or be buried in the garden to continue feeding microbes. The concentrate is very strong, so, dilution is essential. The correct ratio is 1 part concentrate to 9 parts clean water. This ensures your soil microbes get a balanced boost without overwhelming the ecosystem. The concentrate is very strong, so, dilution is essential. The correct ratio is 1 part concentrate to 9 parts clean water. This ensures your soil microbes get a balanced boost without overwhelming the ecosystem. For example, if you made 2 liters of concentrate, just dilute it with 18 liters of water to create 20 liters of working solution. So, you'll want to apply about 2 liters of this diluted solution for every square meter of soil. That's usually enough to thoroughly drench the root zone and, really activate the microbes below. For a 10 square meter garden bed, you'll need the full 20-liter batch. And if your space is smaller, like say, a standard 4x8 foot raised bed, just use 600 milliliters of concentrate mixed with 5.4 liters of water. Before you get started, if the soil's very dry, give it a light watering first. This step helps the microbial solution soak in deeper, instead of just sitting on top. Then, simply pour it directly onto the soil using a watering can or a low-pressure sprayer, focusing on the plant roots and those bare soil areas. The best times to apply are early morning or late afternoon, when soil temperatures are cooler and microbes can establish themselves without heat stress. For lifeless or compacted soil, you'll want to apply every 2 weeks for the first month, then just once a month as maintenance. For new garden beds, it's best to use it about a week before planting to build a living foundation for your seedlings. Within days of your first application, you may notice subtle but powerful changes. The soil begins to darken and loosen. A faint earthy scent replaces the dryness. If you dig a little deeper, you might see thin, wriggling earthworms moving closer to the surface, drawn by the microbial feast you just introduced. Within days of your first application, you may notice subtle but powerful changes. The soil begins to darken and loosen. A faint earthy scent replaces the dryness. Dig a little deeper, and you might see thin, wriggling earthworms moving closer to the surface, drawn by the microbial feast you just introduced. Over the next few weeks, plant roots grow deeper and stronger. Leaves turn richer in color, and the soil begins holding moisture more efficiently. That's because microbes are building humus, the sponge-like organic matter that keeps soil fertile and resilient. In a way, this process mimics what happens in the forest floor every day. Decay feeds life, and life transforms decay into nourishment. Rotting breadwater simply accelerates this timeless natural rhythm, allowing even a tired patch of ground to heal itself. Many gardeners who've rediscovered this method say it brings results that compost tea or commercial fertilizers rarely achieve. Many gardeners who've rediscovered this method say it brings results that compost tea or commercial fertilizers rarely achieve. That's because it doesn't rely on synthetic nutrients. It actually reawakens the soil's own hidden power. The microbes, fungi, and worms, well, they do the real work of creating balance and fertility. And, unlike chemical fertilizers that can burn roots or even harm soil structure, rotting breadwater is, well, gentle. It works in harmony with nature's biology, not against it. With every pour, you're not just feeding plants, you're actually rebuilding the living network that supports them. So, before you toss that stale loaf in the trash, just think of what it could do for your garden. So before you toss that stale loaf in the trash, think of what it could do for your garden. A few pieces of old bread, a bucket of water, and a bit of patience. That's all it takes to breathe life back into your soil. Rotting breadwater isn't just a gardening trick, it's a reminder of how powerful natural processes can be when we let them work. It's about turning waste into abundance and restoring the living heartbeat beneath every thriving garden. If this guide helped you rediscover how simple it can be to bring your soil back to life, make sure to subscribe to Crop Corner for more practical, science-backed gardening secrets. Hit like, share this video with your fellow growers, and let's keep building healthier soil. One loaf at a time. Your worms, your microbes, and your plants will thank you.